and happy, blessed Monday. To those of y'all that are tuning in, whether you are catching this thing live or if you are on the replay, our little, I ain't even gonna call it little, but our YouTube family has been growing, and I am just so very excited about that. As you guys are coming in, as always, go ahead and tell God thank you, and tell me one thing that you are grateful for. Tell me one thing that you are grateful for on today. I will start. I will say, now y'all know the only rule is you can't say life. You can't say thank you, God, for waking me. We can be grateful for those things, but let's dig a little bit deeper into what we're actually grateful for. Today, I will say that I am just grateful for a fresh start. Yeah, I am just grateful for a fresh start. It is a rainy and muggy kind of, well, it ain't really muggy, but it's definitely a rainy day here in Mississippi. Be sure that as you guys are tuning in, that you guys are going ahead and hitting that thumbs up button. If you have not already subscribed, go ahead and please do so. Our new YouTube time is going to be 9:30 a.m. Central Standard Time. I'm a little bit late, I know, but y'all will see why I'm late. But our usual YouTube time is going to be between the hours of 9:30 and 10 a.m. There we go. 10 a.m. We'll say 9:30 to 10:30 a.m. Central Standard Time. If you guys have not already went back and watched the other YouTubes, please go back and watch the other Daily Manners. As always, welcome to another edition of, come on y'all, not y'all rolling on in here. As always, welcome to another edition of Daily Manna. As you guys can see by the title of today's Daily Manna is Suddenly. Yeah, suddenly. This morning for me has been a very interesting it's been a very interesting morning. And as I've been spending time with God, I'm going to just say this. I've been kind of having some, I guess, knee-jerking responses to some of the things that have been happening this morning. But as I sat in the presence of God, the Lord began to speak the word suddenly over me. And he told me the words, "You will be okay." And I'm going to say this. A lot of times when God begins to usher in change, a lot of times we have a tendency to kind of feel like, oh, no, I don't want that. And so this morning was one of those mornings where I kind of battled with that. But as I was sitting in the presence of God this morning before I went live, the Lord told me, tell my children that what is coming to many of their lives is an encounter where something happens suddenly. Yeah, I'm going to say it again. What he told me, he says, tell my children, right, that what is about to happen in their life is something is about to happen suddenly for them. And I'm gonna say this. He told me, he says, a lot of times we, we celebrate, as we should, the suddenlies, but a lot of times we don't realize that what accompanies something happening suddenly is the fact that it is also unexpected. I'm gonna say that again. I'm gonna say it again. A lot of times we celebrate suddenlies, but a lot of times what we don't realize is that what accompanies something happening suddenly in your life is it happening unexpected, right? And a lot of times when unexpected things happen to us, because many of us have trauma, many of us know what it feels like to have something unexpectedly happen that does not bless you. And a lot of times when God begins to usher in things suddenly and unexpectedly, a lot of times we oftentimes feel like I am not prepared for this. I'm not prepared. I'm not ready. Do you see how hard this is, or how hard or how difficult life already is? We find all the reasons to just simply tell God, no. No, 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 no. This morning was one of those mornings where that happened. And I'm going to say this, a lot of times when it comes down to the blessings or the thing that we're believing God for, a lot of times that is how it happens. It happens suddenly and unexpectedly. And in it happening right suddenly and unexpectedly, a lot of times because we're not expecting it, we feel like, God, I'm not prepared. Even if it is something that you have been praying for, even if it is something that you have been believing God for, you will have a tendency, your first response will be, I don't want to do that. This is not the right timing. I'm not prepared. I don't have all my ducks in a row. Boom, 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 boom. So this morning was a morning, I'll start from here. Last week was a week where God was dealing with me about forgiveness, and he had me to unblock like my birth sister. Like she's been blocked for years. Like she's been blocked probably, almost 4 years now. I kid you not. And he told me to unblock her and to let go and to forgive. I kid y'all not. And so I let go as God was dealing with me about things. I unblocked her and I didn't think anything of it. In my mind, I'm just like, I'm okay. I'm moving forward. This is it. And so this morning, as I'm getting up and I'm just preparing for what I thought was going to be a normal day, I'm motivated, I'm encouraged, and I still am motivated and encouraged. My phone starts blowing up. I'm like, I'm trying to have my excuse me, I'm finna make y'all laugh. I'm trying to have my morning brush session where I'm brushing my hair because I washed it last night. I'm brushing my hair, moisturizing my hair, and people is blowing me up. And I kid y'all not. First, it was my mom, and I was like, decline. I'm gonna have to call her back once I'm done. She called again, like I kid y'all not. And I'm brushing my hair, and I'm telling God, I told her I'm gonna call her back. Like I told her I told God I'm gonna have to call her back. Why is she calling me like back to back like this? Because normally, if she calls and I don't answer, she's not gonna be blowing me up like that. I'm like, what gives? I'm just trying to brush my hair. I'm just, oh my gosh, this is me like. If y'all could have like seen the frustration, like I wasn't like frustrated, but I was like, golly, I can't even brush my hair in peace. I'm gonna call them back. And so, like a second later, I hear my phone ringing again. I'm like, is this my mama again? I kid y'all not. I'm like, is this my mama again? It's my sister calling me. I'm like, I just unblocked her. Why is she calling me? I'm thinking something is wrong. I need a whole minute. My God. Golly. And so, needless to say, wow. I answered. And she said, hey, I just found this puppy. Like, do you want him? And she tells me what kind of puppy it is. And immediately, I'm like, I'm not ready for a puppy. My dog just died. Like, this week on Wednesday will make 2 weeks. Like, I'm not ready for a puppy. Like, I'm thinking about all of I can't financially handle it. What about this? What about this? Like, I'm trying to catch up on bills. I got this. I got all of these things that I've got to do. And I don't want to be overwhelmed. Like, I just got to a point where I can kind of just coast into my day without like having to like, just, get up at 5, do this, do that. Like, in my mind, I'm already like overwhelmed. And then I see the dog. She FaceTimes me and she says, you got to unblock me. I'm like, you're not blocked. You just called me. How are you blocked? And so I see the dog and I'm just like, I'm looking at this dog and I'm just like, no. And so I said, give me a second, give me a second, and let me think about it. And immediately I'm telling God, like, my heart is still broken by Sweetie. That almost makes me want to cry. I don't want another dog. This wasn't supposed to be a sad broadcast. It's not sad. But that was my heart space. I don't want another dog to replace the dog that I lost. I'm overwhelmed by it. At the same time, like, I know that God always gives me dogs. Why God always gives me dogs? I ain't never had to pay for a dog in my life. And so these are my thoughts. And I'm like, I'm gonna have to call you back. And then I just, I'm like, I'm not gonna get the dog. Like, I'm not going to get the dog. I just lost Sweetie and I'm not ready to have another dog right now. Like, wow. I'm not ready to have another dog. Like, I'm telling her that. And so then, she FaceTimes me again and she just showing me the dog. And it's just like, I knew that God was saying, like, this is your dog, but fear and just the struggle and everything else that the month of May, this month has brought, is making me feel like I can't afford what you're trying to give me something that I'm not ready for. Like, let me at least get all of these other ducks in a row. Like, this is something that I wasn't, this is me talking to God. I'm like, I didn't expect this. I'm like, I'm just now getting to a point where I feel like, okay, I can catch up on this bill. I can catch up on this bill. I can catch up on all these different things. And, right when I feel like I'm catching up, something always happens that makes me feel like I'm back strung out. I'm back stressed out about this situation. I'm trying to get out of the hole. And so God begins to deal with my heart. And the Lord uttered the words suddenly and unexpectedly. Like you're having a knee-jerk reaction to sudden and unexpectedly. And I just knew, like, when I saw the dog, like, that's supposed to be my dog. And I'm freaking out because I'm like, I gotta get this, I gotta get this. But as I calm down, you know what the Lord told me? Even when things happen suddenly and unexpectedly, you will always be prepared more than you think you are. A lot of times for the blessings of God, our stipulations with receiving the blessings are, God, at least let it happen in a time frame where I feel like I've got all my ducks in a row. God, at least let me get to this point. At least let me have handled boom, 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 boom before you release X, Y, Z to me. And even in our impatient moments, you know, we be feeling like in our impatient moments, like we've got enough of our ducks in a row or ducks together in order to receive the blessing. And so, you know, as God is dealing with me about this, he begins to highlight. He says, do you not know your sister, my sister that lived here? Do you not remember she has a dog kennel that is in the back, you know, that's in her barn? Just ask, you can use it until you get a kennel for outside, you know. And so the puppy is a Great Pyrenees puppy. He looks like a purebred. And he may not be purebred, but he looked like a purebred Great Pyrenees puppy, which is very rare. These are expensive dogs. And immediately when my sister told me that the dog was a Great Pyrenees puppy, the Lord highlighted my Aunt Barbara. My Aunt Barbara had Great Pyrenees dogs. They were like her prized possessions. They were her prize. When I say these dogs were her prized possessions, they were such her prized possessions that when she passed away, she had her dogs cremated. She buried her dogs with her. I'm not lying. She buried those dogs with her. And that was just to what degree, like, she loved, like, her dogs. And so, like, I'm having like a whole emotional moment because I knew that God was going to give me a third dog because I'm used to having 3 dogs. It's been this way for forever. I'm used to having 3 dogs, but I did not expect it to happen so soon. And I did not expect that particular kind of dog. I'm thinking I want a Cane Corso. I want a Presa Canario. I want another big. These are what I want. And the Lord told me, he says, you know, you may have your expectations as far as what the blessing is, but I'm always a God that makes the blessing personal to you, which means that a lot of times for the things that we are believing God for, he may not give us exactly what it is that we want. He probably not going to give it to us the way that we thought he was going to give it to us. But when he releases the blessing, a lot of times what we find is that, man, these blessings are way more personal than I could have ever imagined. And I'm going to just say this. A lot of times when it is time for us to receive the blessing, God revealed to me over the years is that there will always be a stretching before the blessing. Thank you, Kaylee. I'm going to say it again. There will always be a stretching before the blessing. I'm going to say it again. There will always be a stretching before the blessing. And so in this moment of God reminding me, of this phrase, he's dealing with me about how I feel stretched in. I feel like, God, the timing of this puppy, I feel stretched in. Could it not have happened, next week or the week after or whatever the case may be? It's just the fact that it's happening so soon and I didn't expect it. And if you at least gave me a week, I feel like I would be more prepared, or at least another 2 weeks. I feel like I would be a little bit more prepared. And it was just one thing building on top of the other. He reminded me when it was time for me to shift into the vehicle, that 2019 Audi. I had been driving a Toyota Avalon for 2 years at that point, and the car was on this. Now, in the waiting phase, I had many moments of pursuing the blessing prematurely, meaning I'm going to these car lots and I'm ready for the blessing. And then it's like when God finally allowed for it to happen, I felt like, Lord, I'm not ready. I remember getting approved for the vehicle and feeling like I'm not ready. Like, I'm struggling with bills as it is. And now you're adding a car note, and it was a part of a second chance program. So it's like, I have to pay this car note on time every 2 weeks. And if I'm 3 days late, they had a device in the car where they can shut the car down until I pay them. And so it's just literally like I had so much stress. And I'm like, how am I going to like handle this? Do you not see like I'm already stressed out with all these bills? I'm barely paying rent at this place. I'm still stressed in on that, and I done been here 2 years. What about this? What about, I had all of these concerns because I'm like, life has been rough, and you want to introduce another bill, something else for me to stress about. And I remember like getting into that vehicle and God telling me like, you don't think that I will provide for you? And that was the moment that like the season for me financially shifted. And it shifted in such a way where how can I say it? It shifted in such a way where I started making more money than I had previously made. Whereas I'm struggling, and I'm gonna just say this, just because a situation requires faith doesn't mean that you're struggling. Hello. I'm gonna say it again. Just because a situation requires faith does not mean that you are struggling. And so before like I got the vehicle, I was really struggling to pay my bills, right? And I'm looking at God as adding another bill on top of something that I'm already struggling with. Are you trying to stress me out? Are you trying to overwhelm me? Are you trying to overload me? And so it's like when God shifted me into that vehicle, the season also shifted. And I got to a place where I was making enough money to cover the car note. I was never late on the car note. And I'm going to just say this, even though I made more money, that season still required faith, which meant that there were still times where I'm like, God, I'm believing for you to do this. Moderators, can y'all send that to me? Can y'all screenshot that and send that to me? Just because a situation requires faith doesn't mean you're struggling. But like, these are my mindsets. I'm like, Lord, like I am trying, And so it's like he reminded me of that situation, and even like other situations, like shifting to another apartment, how all of those shifts was stretched. I was stretched in. And I'm gonna just say this. We talk about stretching, but stretching doesn't mean struggling. What happens when we are being stretched is he's increasing our capacity to receive, right? Think about like, clothes that are like stretching material, right? So you can, clothes that are stretching material have the ability to stretch to fit your body, right? Which means that even if you order it a size smaller, you may still be able to squeeze into it, right? Because it is a stretching material. Am I making sense? Because it is a material that stretches. And here's the thing. You wear a piece of clothing that stretches long enough, so long, guess what happens? It gets to a place where, it's, how can I say it? Where it expands and it stays expanded. Where it's not like, when you bought it off out of the store or off the site. It's, it is kind of adapted to your frame. And so, it reminded me of just, excuse me, of just what God was doing today. And it encouraged me to such a degree that, to not reject things because they're happening suddenly and unexpectedly. A lot of broken in, thank you, Mayani. A lot of times, right, the best blessings, the most life-changing blessings are the ones that we did not expect and the ones that came suddenly. And even in that, like God was telling me, like, notice I had you unblock her last week because I knew that she would find a puppy and that she wouldn't be able to keep it, but that she would think about you and feel like you could handle this puppy. Yeah. That's it. Suddenly. That is what is coming to so many of our lives. And it's not just a suddenly in any kind of area. For many of us, it's a suddenly when it revolves around something that God knows we need. I wasn't believing God for a dog, but I knew that eventually on down the road that I wanted a dog, a third dog. I knew that I don't want to pay for a dog. I will never pay for a dog. And I will say that too, for as long as I am alive, I will never pay for a dog. I'm never going to pay for a dog, okay? But not only that, like as I settled into it, God is like, remember, You bought puppy pads the night that Sweetie passed away because she was losing control of like all of her bodily functions and she just was not well. He says, do you not realize that you already have everything that you need? From the dog bowls to you got a dog crate to put him in. You got, puppy pads. All you need, it was preparation. All you need. God was telling me, I was thinking about this before she even passed away. All I need is a dog bed. He said, I was thinking about this before she ever passed away. Before your heart got broke, before you lost her, I had your heart in mind. I had the next steps in mind. Even making it so personal that it's the same dog that my aunt had. I'm just like, oh my God, this is just, it's too much. So yeah, I'll have him today. I'm going to go get him at around 1 p.m. He was preparing me then. And if he was preparing me then, just think, how he's preparing you. You may be feeling pain in the area. You may be uncomfortable in an area. You get what I'm saying? But just think about, if he was thinking that far ahead for my life, just think about what he's doing for yours. And so that is today's Daily Manna. If it has blessed you, can you tell God thank you? Yeah. If it has blessed you, can you tell God thank you? That's it. To those of you guys that would like to sow, you can label this seed well, let me say this. If you are sowing to Cash App, do not put a title, because I don't want them to flag Visha's Cash App. They're going to think that y'all are paying for services. So if you're sowing to Cash App, just sow the seed. But the number that God told me this morning was the number 913. The number that God told me was 913, and that's representative of Amos 9:13, which talks about sudden and unexpected blessings hitting our lives. And so the ways to sow, they're about to post. They are in the description. They are in the description of every single video. You can sow via paypal.me/thoughtsbyT. You can sow via Cash App, $thoughtsbyT. I mean, not ThoughtsbyT, $DavisaButler. If you are sowing to Cash App, do not put a label. Do not put a label. I'm going to say it again. If you're sowing to Cash App, do not put a seed title. Don't do it. I know your heart, but do not do it. You can sow to Chime, $ThoughtsbyT. You can sow to Zelle, 769-281-6840. And that is it. And so that is it. Again, if you have not already hit thumbs up on this, please go ahead and hit that thumbs up. Do I have anyone that needs to be sown for? Before I get, do I have anyone that needs to be sown for? If we good, give me some fire emojis. We're about to head on over to TikTok in a few minutes. And so that is it. I pray that this has blessed you exactly where you are. And yeah, let's have a productive week. Do I have one person that can sow for Brindy? If you can sow for Brindy, can you just, just type in on the screen, or if you're catching it on the replay, God is faithful. But that is it, y'all. That is it. I love y'all. Oh yes, we got raffles. Do not sow your raffle interest to Cash App. Don't do it. Sow your raffles to PayPal, Chime, or Zelle. The raffle is $5 for the month of June. We're going to pull it at the end of June for a $100 Visa gift card. And you can buy multiple entries. It's $5 per entry. If you are entering into the raffle, what I would like for you to do is for you to put your TikTok name or your YouTube name, along with the word raffle. And so that is it. I'm going to show y'all the dog is already in my mama's house. My God. Oh, he's a baby. Oh, wow. He is such a baby. But that's it, y'all. That is it. I'm gonna see if I can find a picture that I want to show y'all of them. Here in this puppy. Hey, Capone. Yep, can y'all see? I think y'all can see. All right, y'all. I love y'all. I am rooting for y'all, and so yeah. 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 I see y'all later. His name is gonna be Buddy. That is his name. I'm naming him Buddy. And so I will see y'all later, y'all. Till next time.